My younger brother ruined my life, and I can't help but hate him for it. I know how that sounds. Cruel, heartless even. But it feels justified. Ever since he was born, it was like I ceased to exist. I was 6 and genuinely thrilled to become a big sister. But that joy didn't last. It was crushed under the weight of reality. Slowly but surely, everything changed. One day, they told me I'd be moving into the cold, unfinished basement so he could have the room upstairs, closer to Mom and Dad. They didn't even ask. That basement felt like exile. Damp floors, shadows in every corner, and not a shred of comfort. I'd lie awake at night, hearing them laughing upstairs while I shivered alone, like some discarded piece of furniture. My toys? They never stood a chance. He destroyed them constantly. Maybe not on purpose, but it didn't matter. They were mine, and no one cared. I tried to speak up, desperate for someone to see how crushed I felt. I begged them to notice. But every time, they gave me that same line. He's just a boy. He doesn't know any better. You're the older one, you should know better. Like being a girl meant my feelings didn't matter. It was brutal. Those toys were all I had. They were my escape, my little pieces of joy. And watching them destroyed one by one, while my parents brushed it off like it meant nothing, it made me feel invisible, less than. The MacBook was my prize, something I earned through months of grinding at school. But that didn't matter. One careless moment from my brother, and it was trashed. My teacher looked at me like I was a joke. Be more responsible, she said. My parents? They just nodded. Of course they did. Their golden boy couldn't possibly be at fault. It had to be me. I was beyond angry, but even more than that, I felt utterly alone, like I was drowning and no one noticed. This wasn't about a laptop anymore. It was about how I was always expected to shoulder the blame, carry the burden, stay quiet. Honestly, trying to live a normal life while constantly being the big sister to a boy who takes up all the air in the room, it's suffocating. I care about him, I do. But sometimes it feels like my parents forget I exist outside of being his fallback plan. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, studying, sleeping, or just breathing, I'm expected to drop it all when he snaps his fingers or starts crying. Because I'm the girl, the dependable one, the invisible one. I don't even enjoy time with my friends anymore. I spend it half worried, half guilty, checking my phone like I'm some kind of emergency contact on call. My life is in this endless holding pattern, like I'm stuck in standby mode, waiting for the next meltdown, the next "where are you" text. So when I planned a trip to see the new Spider-Man with my friend Jake, it felt revolutionary. Just 2 hours for me, no guilt, no responsibilities. I turned off my phone. For the first time in what felt like forever, I chose me, just me, for once. When I turned my phone back on, I was slammed with notifications. It was like the world had burned down in 2 hours. I called home, heart pounding. My mom's voice? Pure fire. I didn't even get a hello, just rage. Where the hell were you? She snapped. We needed you. Like I'd run off to party instead of watching a PG-13 movie with a friend. I bolted home, guilt twisting in my gut, but so was something else. Resentment. I stepped inside and it was chaos. My mom pacing, my dad's voice loud and sharp, my brother wailing in the background like a soundtrack to my guilt. You think your fun is more important than your family? My dad barked. Like going to a movie was some act of betrayal. I tried to explain. To make them understand, I just needed a break. But they weren't listening. They never do. He needs you, my mom snapped. And you ran off. What kind of daughter does that? The words stung. They grounded me like I was some spoiled brat, over a movie, over 2 hours of trying to feel normal. I sat in my room, staring at the wall, realizing it wasn't about punishment. It was about control. This wasn't about Spider-Man. This was about how I'm always last on everyone's list, even my own. I know my brother needs support, but does that mean I don't get to be human too? I'm 18, legally an adult. but I can't even live like a teenager. It's like my life isn't mine anymore. I didn't sign up for this role. I was cast in it without permission. And now I'm stuck, playing the same scene over and over. I love my brother. I really do. But in that moment, I felt robbed of my youth, my freedom, my right to just be a girl. Living here feels like being stuck in a loop that only serves one person. Him. Don't get me wrong. I know he needs care. But sometimes, I feel like I'm not a daughter anymore. I'm just another item on the family's checklist. Groceries, laundry, babysitter. Go check on your brother. Make sure he's all right. Can't you see we're already overwhelmed with him? That line, God, I hear it almost every day. It's exhausting being treated like I'm just an extra set of hands around here, not a daughter. Just the invisible helper in the background. I don't exist unless he needs something. That's when I magically become visible. But only as a tool, never as a person. Sometimes it feels like I'm a servant in my own house, not out of love, but out of obligation, and it's choking the life out of me. I walk around with this invisible weight pressing on me, heavier every day. It's gotten to the point where I wonder, do I even matter to them? Then came a rare glimmer. I was chosen to give a speech at a school event, me. Not because I was someone's helper, but because I had something worth hearing. The moment they announced my name, it felt like the world had finally noticed I was more than just his sister. I poured my soul into that speech. And for once, my parents promised they'd be there. For me. Just the thought lit something in me I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Every night, I practiced in front of the mirror, imagining mom and dad in the front row, maybe even looking proud for once. But of course, they didn't come. Something happened with my brother. Again. He cried or threw something or just wanted attention, and that was that. Standing on stage, scanning the crowd and not seeing their faces, it felt like someone had yanked the floor out from under me. I still gave the speech. My voice shook, my hands trembled, but I finished. Everyone clapped. It should have felt good. It didn't. On the walk home, I cried. Not because they missed a speech, but because this was just one more chapter in a lifetime of being pushed aside. It was the universe reminding me, no matter how hard I try, I'll always come second, or third, or not at all. I used to dream about college. That night, for once, Dad and I sat down and looked through brochures together. It felt almost normal. For once, the future felt like mine. Like maybe there was a way out, a life where I wasn't a built-in babysitter or backup parent. And then he said it, with a laugh, like it was nothing. Pick a major that pays well, you'll have to take care of your brother someday. He thought it was funny. I didn't. I felt like I'd been punched. All those buried emotions, the guilt, the anger, the grief, ripped their way out. I snapped. I started sobbing, then screaming, telling him how unfair it was, how every dream I had was expected to orbit around my brother. Everything came pouring out, the speech they missed, the nights alone, the way I had to be strong while no one noticed I was breaking. They didn't say a word, just stood there, cold and confused, like they couldn't recognize me anymore. Their faces were blank, like I was speaking a language they didn't care to learn. That's when it hit me. They were never going to understand. I could scream, cry, beg. It wouldn't matter. So I ran upstairs, slammed my door, and waited. I've been in here for hours. Not a knock, not a whisper, not even a damn text. It's like I disappeared, and they didn't even notice. It's a special kind of loneliness, sitting here and realizing that even breaking down completely still isn't enough to make them see me. I feel like I'm locked into this role they've chosen for me, silent, selfless, and always in the background. My feelings? Irrelevant. Is it selfish to want more? To want to be more than just my brother's fallback plan? No matter how hard I try, it's like I don't even register to them. I'm just a backup system for my brother's future. I'm not their daughter. I'm an insurance policy for their son, In case things go wrong, they expect me to fix it all. After hours turned into a full day of silence, something snapped. I knew something had to change, permanently. I didn't want to escape. I needed space. I needed permission to figure out who I am, without always being dragged back to the same story. The only person who ever made me feel seen was Grandpa. I didn't overthink it. I just packed a bag and left. I shot him a text. "Can I come over?" I half expected a guilt trip. Instead, he replied, "Doors open. Come home." Living with Grandpa has been like breathing for the first time in years. There's space, peace, and no one barking orders. We don't have dramatic sit-downs, but we talk about life, college, dreams, and for once, the conversation is about me. He gives me room to be a person, not just a sister, not just a stand-in mom, just me. He listens. And he actually encourages me to imagine a future that isn't built around my brother's needs. It's strange how in just a few days, I've remembered what it feels like to be a whole person again. We've eaten together, laughed at dumb old movies, and he even told me wild stories from when he was my age. It's been simple and healing. I opened up my laptop and, for the first time in forever, started looking at schools for me. Not just ones that paid well enough to support my brother someday. This week gave me a glimpse of freedom, of who I might be if I let go of the guilt. And I want that. Desperately. Honestly, I didn't think anyone would care this much. Your messages, your words, they reminded me I'm not crazy for feeling this way. Thank you. And you're right. I don't hate my brother. I never did. It's not his fault. He's just a kid too. My parents did reach out, but I couldn't talk. I just cried and asked them to give me space. They finally agreed. Now they've arranged for me to stay here with Grandpa for a while, to breathe, to figure things out. We'll talk. Later. I'm not ready now, but I will be. And this time, I hope they'll actually listen. I finally told Grandpa the full story, from start to finish, the parts I'd been too ashamed to say out loud. He was furious, not at me, but at what I've been through, the way I've been used, ignored, written off. I told him how I've been raising my brother more than my own parents have, how I've been slowly disappearing, and how one small joke about my future being tied to my brother's needs broke me more than I thought possible. That day, when Dad joked that my whole purpose in college was just to make enough money to take care of my brother forever, something in me snapped. Grandpa was furious when I told him. Not just about the joke, but about everything, especially when he found out that my brother was supposed to be under professional care I was unknowingly replacing. Grandpa said things I never thought I'd hear from him. I won't repeat them here, but the gist was that what my parents were doing wasn't just wrong, it was dangerous. My brother needed professional care, not me sacrificing my youth for a job no teenager should be doing. He was stunned, like completely shocked, that my parents had dumped so much responsibility on me while lying to everyone else in the family like everything was fine. Grandpa brought up the movie incident and said it was the clearest sign yet that I wasn't being treated like a daughter, but like backup staff for my brother. That hit hard. Grandpa's usually calm, the wise old man type, but I'd never seen him like this. His anger wasn't loud. It was cold, focused, protective. And it scared me a little, but in a good way. He told me flat out, "Don't say a word to them unless I'm with you." And honestly, that felt like someone finally had my back. He promised he'd handle it, that he'd talk to them himself, and any future talk, he'd be sitting right next to me. I finally didn't feel alone, but it didn't stop there. The floodgates opened. Aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't heard from in years started calling me, one after another, and they were pissed. Not at me, at my parents. Turns out I wasn't the only one kept in the dark. Apparently, my parents had been lying to the entire family for years, telling them we had a paid caregiver for my brother. They even took money from them to help, but there was never a caregiver. It was just me. Always me. The betrayal hit the family hard, not just the lies, but how much had been swept under the rug while I silently suffered. This past week has been wild. Painful, yes, but also like breathing for the first time in years. Finding out the truth, how deep the lies went, how alone I really was like swallowing broken glass. But it also set something free inside me. But then came something I never expected. My family showing up, like really showing up. It was like they'd all been waiting for the fog to clear. Grandpa's taken this mission personally. He says he wasted too much time not asking questions. And now? He's making up for it every day. He keeps telling me, "You're a kid, not a caregiver. Start acting like it." And honestly, I needed that permission more than I realized. It's been weird, doing things for myself. But it's also healing. Just being allowed to laugh, to sleep in, to not be on edge. Grandpa's helping me stitch pieces of myself back together. Parts I thought I'd lost forever under the weight of constant responsibility. My aunts and uncles have been showing up every day. Meals, hugs, stories, sometimes just sitting with me. I didn't know how badly I needed it until now. For the first time in forever, I'm not the older sibling who should know better. I'm just me. A person. A daughter. A niece. A teen. It's overwhelming in all the right ways. Like love was waiting in the wings, and now it finally stepped forward. For once, I'm not the fill-in parent, not the guilt-ridden kid. I'm just a teenager figuring out who I am. And it feels like freedom. The talk with my parents Saturday night? Disaster doesn't even scratch the surface. I walked in clinging to the tiniest bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, they'd finally hear me. But what I got was a wrecking ball to whatever trust I had left. They admitted to things so twisted I still can't bring myself to repeat them out loud. Secrets, lies, things they knew were wrong, and they just said it like it was no big deal. And the worst part? Not even a single apology. Nothing. My dad just shrugged and said I was meant to care for my brother. Like being born a girl somehow made that my life sentence. Yeah, he really said it. That my only value was in taking care of my brother. Like my dreams, my future, none of it mattered. Just my ability to support his son. I broke. Everything I'd held inside, finding out about the lies, the way the family had been manipulated, it all came crashing out of me like a dam bursting. I confronted them head on. The fake caregiver, the money they claimed they were using for my brother's care but were actually pocketing. It all came out. But instead of owning it, they twisted it around. Excuses. Deflections. Like they were the victims in all this. By the end, it felt like trying to explain color to people who only saw gray. I wasn't their daughter. I was a tool they expected to work until I broke. I walked in wanting peace. I walked out realizing I'd been chasing something that never existed in the first place. After that night, something inside me just clicked. I was done begging for crumbs of compassion. Grandpa and my uncle sat me down, and together we made the call. It's over. I won't go back to that house. Today, I'm officially moving in with Grandpa. For real this time. Not just a break. This is a new beginning. It's terrifying, sure, leaving behind everything I knew. But for once, I get to steer. I get to choose. I made another decision too. I'm leaving the state for college, as far away as I can afford. The idea of a clean slate? Honestly, it gives me hope. My aunt, bless her, she found out about the stolen money and lost it. Now? She's sending that support straight to me. She even called it your real inheritance. Freedom. That money's mine now, for books, tuition, a dorm room with a locked door, and no diapers to change. My parents? Yeah, they've called. But not to apologize. Not to check if I'm okay. Just to ask when I'm coming back to resume my duties. Like I'm some kind of employee on unpaid leave. It's like the entire point of why I left flew over their heads. Or maybe they just don't care. Yeah, I'm scared. I won't lie. But there's a lightness in my chest I haven't felt since I was a kid, like I can finally exhale. Every step I take now is mine, not handed to me, not forced on me. Mine. Today isn't just another day, it's day one. Choosing not to return. It's not easy. There's a knot in my gut that won't go away yet. But I know, deep down, that knot will loosen. That ache will heal. The way the rest of my family has rallied around me, I didn't know love like that could still exist. And somehow, through all this chaos, their love has made everything bearable, even hopeful. Yeah, the brutal truth? I've basically lost my parents through all of this. Saying it out loud feels like getting punched in the chest. It's heavy. Really heavy. Some nights I still catch myself wishing they'd just been different people, that I had a different story. But in all the wreckage, I found one thing that actually matters. I don't hate my brother. The resentment I thought I felt toward him? It wasn't really about him. He's not responsible for how our parents twisted everything. I love him truly. Even after everything, that hasn't changed. Blaming him for something he was born into? It was never fair. That guilt sits deep. I hope one day, when I'm stronger, I can show him I never stopped being his sister. But for now, I have to step away. For the first time ever, I'm choosing me. It's about finding out who I am, without being a full-time backup parent, without being just the daughter. It won't be easy, but I'm ready. Terrified, but ready. Edit. I wish I had time to reply to every kind message. Reading them during lunch nearly brought me to tears. I'll post an update tonight about how the move went. For now, just know your support is everything. Seriously, your kindness means more to me than I can put into words. Thank you for seeing me. The move felt like a dream. Grandpa and Uncle were there the whole time, quietly helping me box up a life I never chose. We made sure not to leave anything important behind. Memories, keepsakes, little pieces of who I am. We double-checked for everything official, birth certificate, social security card, like I was preparing to enter the world on my own. It felt final, like I was packing up the wreckage of who I was to build something entirely new. My parents? Silent. Cold. Dad took my brother and left the second I showed up. It was like he couldn't stand the sight of me. Mom stayed though. Not that it helped. She just lingered in the shadows, arms folded, watching. It felt like she was grieving something. But not me. Right when we were about to go, she finally cracked. She choked out that she loved me, that she'd miss me. After days of acting like I didn't exist, hearing that shattered something in me. I hugged her, even through the pain. Saying goodbye in that moment was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Now I'm sitting in my new room at Grandpa's place, replaying it all like a broken record. Did she mean it? Or was it just guilt talking? I don't know, and maybe I never will. But I need, to believe she meant it. For now, I've got to focus forward, eyes on the future. Maybe one day we can rebuild something from the ashes, but that's not today.